Welcome back to the Homeschool Advantage podcast. I'm your host, Bex Buzzy. Today's guest is Christy Gandera, CEO and founder of Happy Hive Homeschooling. She's a former classroom teacher and a homeschool mom living in California with her husband and her 3 almost grown children she calls her bugs. She didn't send her 3 bugs to school because she knew no one would be a better teacher than she is. She also was terrified, but quite frankly, she did it anyway. Christy designed Happy Hive Homeschooling to make your homeschooling years the best they can be. Happy Hive provides courses, coaching, and a unique holiday of the day curriculum designed for any homeschool method. It is their goal to help you recognize the importance of your homeschool mindset in the overall education experience of your children. Happy Hive uses an off-the-cuff curriculum versus textbooks. The best curriculum the Happy Hive Homeschool ever used was the year they based everything they did on the holiday of the day. It was an amazing year full of learning and memories, and this is what they want you to experience with your children too. In this episode, we talk about how celebration brings memories, how learning about holidays brings many educational moments in history, and how celebration connects us all. So go grab your coffee, go grab your tea, and a pen and paper, because you're not going to want to miss what Christy has to say. Let's get into the podcast. And today we have Christy Gandera from Happy Hive Homeschooling. Christy, say hello to our guests and tell us what is something you think most people don't know about homeschooling.
Hey, Bex, thanks so much for having me. So I think that most people don't understand that not all homeschoolers are against public education. Oftentimes I run across families in my work that have kids in both. Some kids are homeschooled and some go to public school.
That is huge information, and I love that. That's really cool because it kind of gaps that bridge that a lot of people have, because the majority of the time you think, homeschooling, they're just completely against, public education. But there are some kids that do really well in public education. Like that format does seem to work for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what it's about, is making sure that you have a good match for your children and how they learn. So we call it the school at home method. That's when you're kind of mimicking what's happening in a public school. And that worked really well for a lot of families too, especially a family who the parents weren't homeschooled themselves. The school model is kind of a comfort zone for them, at least in the very beginning.
Right. Let's talk about what you do. So you're a homeschool coach. You help homeschoolers assimilate into the homeschooling world.
Yes, I help them get comfortable and build their confidence. So I'm a homeschool mindset mentor. So we want to work on the way that our brain naturally it kind of attacks us in a way, but the brain's designed to keep you safe, to keep you from making mistakes, And that's why we have doubt and fears, and we think I'm not good enough. All of that has to do with our mindset. So I give families tools specific to homeschooling and what they can do to overcome a lot of those doubts and fears that they have.
Wow, that must really be big time. I mean, like, you probably find a lot of parents when they come to you, that's the biggest issue. That's probably their biggest challenge, like just feeling that they're not worthy or they're not qualified or their mindset is a little off on things and they're just not actually able to take full advantage of the opportunity of what homeschooling really is. So let's talk about your name, the Happy Hive Homeschooling. I love it. And then you have Queen Bee in the back. There's something to it. Talk to us about that.
There is. So, I feel like a Happy Hive is a warm and friendly and fun place to be. And I want to help families have a happy hive of their own. So you have all your little worker bees buzzing around and the mom or the dad, it can be the queen bee, the one that's just making sure everything's going along.
So what inspired you to create all of this? Do you have children that you homeschool?
I do. Well, they're in college now, so our homeschooling years are over just a little bit.
Yeah. You're like, done.
Done.
Yeah.
But I can't seem to leave the environment. I love homeschooling and teaching so much. So it was really my kids that inspired me to do what I do. They wanted to leave the Christmas tree up one year.
Oh,
They
wow.
didn't want to take it down. And I saw that their quest for celebration was one of the deepest ways for us to connect.
Ooh.
So I want other families to remember that our homeschooling time is limited. We think we have forever, but you don't. So stop what you're doing and celebrate with your kids. Ordinary holidays, more off the cuff holidays, things like that.
Like half birthdays. I celebrate
half birthdays are amazing. Yes.
I celebrate my half birthday. It's January 6th. It's actually also called Three Kings Day.
Yes.
And yeah, so I'm like, yay.
Yeah, you can put out your shoes.
Yes.
And get gifts, or if you find the baby in the Three Kings cake, you've got lots to celebrate that day.
That's so funny. Yeah, each culture, like each country, has a similarity as to how we all celebrate it, but we celebrate it slightly different. And you just mentioned two different ones. The one that I celebrate in Puerto Rico. So I'm half Puerto Rican, half Spanish. So in Spain, they take their shoe and they put it on the windowsill. And it's crazy. They put hay inside the shoe for, the camels to come through. And yeah, and in Puerto Rico, we take a shoe box and we fill it with hay. We have to go out, cut tall grass, and we put it in a shoe box and we put it under our bed.
You see the instant connection we had over a holiday?
Yes.
And how absolutely educational that is, how academic our discussion just was about the different traditions, and then you brought in the way it's done in different countries.
Yeah,
that's what brings me the most joy.
Yeah.
Is those almost little tangents that are inspired by the holidays.
Yeah, and I actually got really happy telling you about it because it made me just like remember when I was a little girl, because we used to live in Puerto Rico. Oh, and I remember that. It was so awesome how my mom used to do that. I love that. Yeah, so your curriculum focuses around celebration.
It does. All the curriculum that I design is based on the holiday of the day. So my Three Kings Day is kind of a popular holiday, but there's little known holidays, like Talk Like a Pirate Day, or there's Oreo Cookie Day. There's just tons, more than I could even bring. We don't have enough time to get into all of them.
Darn. I got to get the curriculum.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And when you're struggling with homeschooling, my advice is to take a break. You need to I don't want to say put the academics away, but sometimes that's kind of what I mean, is put down what you're doing, all the wonderful curriculum that you bought, and let's celebrate something. You can celebrate once a month, you can celebrate once a week, or you can do what I did in my home and do it that was my curriculum for a full year. That's all we did was the holiday of the day.
So let's talk about that, because that is probably something that you saw really change the dynamic of your household, because being able to celebrate for a whole year had to do something for the dynamics of your family.
It did. It certainly did. That is still what they talk about now. When they talk about homeschooling, they don't they don't remember that formal history curriculum that we did for 4 years straight. Wow. They remember the holidays. Remember, Mom, when we did this? Was that in the holiday year? Remember, Mom, when we did this? So the connections that we were able to build and the memory making is out of this world.
That's what I was thinking too. Like those memories. My mom literally just passed away a couple of weeks ago. And
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. I know where she's at, so I'm good. It's like
absolutely.
But I do remember all those beautiful things that we did together. And it's one thing that you think about in that very last moment. And not to sound morbid, but I do want to bring this home to all parents, is I thought in my mind, I wish I had more memories. I wish I made more of those. So the last week I was with her, the only thing I kept thinking was, I really wish we would have went to Disney World. I really wish I would have brought her here. Like, I really wish that I would have done more memorable things than anything else, like celebrated more with her, like things like that. And like, it's actually taught me right now as, post everything. Like I'm really celebrating people more. Like, I really want to be in the moment, and I want to just focus on the great things on people, right? And that's been one of my biggest learning lessons. I feel like my mom passing is going to be a journey, but as I'm listening to you and all the wonderful things you did, it's like you gave your children a gift. You've given them a gift, and you've also got that serendipity back as well as a mom and dad. Like, you guys built this beautiful, I guess, hive,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
and your kids are still remembering. They're in college and they're still remembering this.
And it's comforting. It's comforting to me to be able to look back, because just as you said, Bex, we don't have time. We think we do and we don't.
It's true.
So we do need to take those opportunities, and homeschooling provides us with the flexibility to do it our way. So by celebrating and making those memories, you absolutely can't go wrong. You can't do it wrong. And I know you have a lot of even just parents in your audience. You don't just drop your kids off at school and then forget about it and do nothing. So you can incorporate the same type of celebration into your family life. So I did Oreo cookie day with my grown children, all of them. Had a taste test. You should see them smelling the cookies. It's ageless, it's timeless. Celebration is what brings us together as humans.
It's
Even,
true.
when your mom passed, what do? We have a celebration of life.
It's exactly what we did.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
That's how we connect.
Yeah. Yeah, actually on her last day, when the day she passed, that morning, she actually was dancing with her shoulders. She was bedridden, but she knew she was ready to go, and we played music and we actually celebrated and danced with her. It was a gift for all of us, like my aunt, her sister, my uncle, me, my husband. It was an opportunity to celebrate, which is, I'm getting a little emotional thinking about it, because I'm thinking celebration is amazing, and the opportunity to be able to start when they're little and grow in this relationship. That's what homeschooling is all about, and how beautiful that you've taken your experiences and created something so other families can do the same exact thing. And they probably are able to even become creative through that, right? Like,
Absolutely. They can launch off into tangents and rockets of their own desires, just based on what they're studying. It's very open. It's not, I want to say it's not formal curriculum. I don't want to scare anyone away, but it's not. It's very grounded in just being together and having experiences. So you can do whatever you want with it.
did you guys create your own holiday by chance? Your own family holiday?
There is a day that's called Create Your Own Holiday Day. And I have so many dates rolling around in my head. I'll need to look that up. Maybe we can put that in the show notes for everyone.
Yes.
What day Create Your Own Holiday is. And I did not with my children, because when I started, there was no Pinterest. So I homeschooled way back in the early 2000s. So I came up with it all kind of on my own, and they have more and more and more holidays now. But yeah,
Wow.
Create your own holiday, please. Can you imagine how kids will use their brain power to come up with everything, all the best of every holiday?
Yeah, and the critical thinking skills at that point, and like the problem solving and the discovery. I think we so undervalue that these spontaneous things, right? The fun aspect. We think we're really programmed into thinking that education is dry and it's textbook and it's sitting at a table and only that. I mean, it can be part of it, but it's not only that. You know what I mean? It's probably everything together, where that really makes such a beautiful amalgamation of like everything coming together.
Yes. Yes. There has to be balance. There has to be a mix.
Yeah.
And that's what I promote.
Have you found kids with maybe like learning challenges or like sensory issues, they really kind of gravitate to what you do?
Well, absolutely, because not to pat myself on the back, but it's fun.
Yeah.
So who doesn't want to have fun? And you can celebrate in a million different ways. So it's easy to level these activities to the unique needs of a family that's homeschooling multiple children across a certain age range. You know, you have a lot of kids. It's easy to adapt the celebrations to kids who we have what we call them special needs. You know, I think they have superpowers personally. So things like that, for sure. Yeah, they gravitate to this.
I love that. So what would be like probably will be the one student that would benefit from your type of curriculum the most?
Everyone benefits. Mom, dad, there's not one type of student. It's universal. It's universal. So
have you heard of any stories like parents come back to you with some like, thank you, you know? I'm sure you have.
Yes, I have in the many years that I've worked in holiday celebrating. When I was in a classroom, I did the same thing. But as far as my homeschooling goes, I have a mom who really stands out in my mind, and what she thanked me for was confidence. The way she phrased it was she borrowed my confidence when everyone was against her homeschooling, and even when she was having those brain talks with herself and she thought, I can't do this. She was able to use the things that I was teaching her to empower herself, and then she took off like a rocket, and wow. She was able to nurture her three children.
Wow.
So what I do is help you can borrow my confidence, because I just think homeschooling is easy and fun. And so I'll show you how to make it easy and fun. And then I don't want you to stay in my program for life. It's teach a man how to fish, then they can eat for the rest of their life. I'm not going to just keep handing you fish. I want to teach you how to grow and bloom yourself.
Yeah, talk to us a little bit more about your course and your program. Like, how does it operate?
The mindset portion so the mindset portion of my program happens in two different ways. I have an email only program where you just email me your questions and then I get back to you. Sometimes moms are super busy and they don't want to do video or anything, and they just want their question answered as quick as possible. So that's the email program. Then I have face-to-face program over, I use Google Meet. They keep changing the name, but everyone understands when I say Google Meet. So I use Google Meet and we coach for about 30 minutes. They come to me with kind of their issues. For example, saying, I'm feeling really stuck this week. I really feel like little Junior is behind. You know, and so I'll run through the gamut with them about, you know, what's causing those fears and some strategies they can use to overcome those fears. And I have a 3-month program and a 6-month program for the face-to-face coaching.
That's awesome. So as we're wrapping it up, what's the call to action? Where can they get your resources, connect with you, and get part of this mentor and this program?
Awesome. So it's pretty easy to remember because I'm all about the Happy Hive and we're homeschooling, right? So you can find me at happyhivehomeschooling.com, and I have plenty of holiday resources to get you started. Full disclosure, there are not 365 of them yet, but there's much power in yet. And my homeschool consulting is also available there. You can check everything out for yourself. And I offer a free discovery call. So we get a 30-minute call totally free, just to get to know one another, to kind of feel the waters, see if it's too hot or too cold. So you can book a discovery call there on the website.
That's fantastic. Because I know even me as a person, I would always feel comfortable being able to like talk first. That's why I even have preliminary calls before anyone comes on my interviews. Like, I have to like talk to you for at least 15 minutes before I can even go on an interview. But yeah, I think that's just to build that connection with the parents is such a huge thing, and to teach them what it looks like, especially those who are brand new, what it looks like to connect.
Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome. So tell me, what is one thing you want parents to take away from our conversation today?
Plan for fun things. Don't wait until you feel overwhelmed. Put it in there on purpose.
I love that. Plan for fun things. Be intentional. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh. I love that. Christy, thank you so much for coming on the show today and just sharing your wisdom, sharing your testimony, sharing just all of your experiences and some behind the scenes of your life, sharing your life with us. Thank you so much for coming on today. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, it was a pleasure, Bex. I have thoroughly enjoyed talking to you and inspiring you to add some celebration into your life with your family.
Oh, yeah, you know it. If you love the conversations we're having here on the Homeschool Advantage podcast, follow or subscribe our podcast to stay in the loop and never miss this amazing content. And please highly consider taking a minute to leave a positive rating and review to help others like you discover this show. See you next time.